Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Hope everybody's having unbelievable start to your day. I'm not going to be long today. Today it's Thursday, so it's Thankful Thursday. Take a little time, talk to you uh, about something that a couple of people have asked me about, and so I want to address it. Before I do, I want to take time. You guys have heard me say that there's a lot going on with the restructuring of the company. And one of the things that came out of that is I am not doing anywhere close to the number of one-on-one direct counseling, coaching engagements as I have done in the past years. This year is going to be a significantly reduced thing, but today I am opening up 3 slots, and that's either for bronze, gold, or platinum packages. The link is in there if you want to check out what I do, how I do it. The link is in there and the packages are in there. But I am offering today a free upgrade from the bronze package to the gold package. So that's from 12 weeks to 26 weeks of free upgrade. So if you decide that you want to work with me, this is one of the few opportunities that I'm offering it this year. So again, look inside of the description box, click the link if you want to work with me. And if you know the value or see the value, you see it. If you don't, I'm not going to convince you of it right now. So I'm going to focus on something that's on my mind, that's on my heart right now. Today is Thankful Thursday, and I'm always talking about the importance of gratitude. I'm always talking about the importance of finding a reason to be grateful. And as I say, every morning when I wake up, the first thing I do before I roll over, before I go anywhere near any of my devices, I say thank you. The first thing I do is I say thank you. And what that does is that challenges my subconscious to look for reasons to be grateful. I literally set my motion, I set my mood, I set my state of mind before I get out of the bed, because I know challenges are coming. I know that there are things that are going to happen. Winning in life is not about circumventing all of the challenges and doing all of the things you can do to get around difficult moments. You're not going to avoid the storms of life. They're coming. It's what you do in those storms. It's how you engage those storms. It's how you view those storms that's going to determine your ultimate outcome in life. So someone asked, well, what happens when it seems that everything is going wrong? Well, let me tell you, I've been there. I've been there more times than I care to count. Life, in the things that I've been able to do in my life, didn't come because I had it easy. Born to a teenage mom and an absent father. Being reared by your grandmother's parents, and that generational gap and all that means, and so many different other things that come along with it. And then coming up and just going through losses and having to recover and rebuild and get stronger. Let me tell you something. I've been there. I know what it's like to wake up in the morning and know that you got all this stuff waiting on you. But let me tell you something. One thing you don't see me doing is complaining. I've had some rough years. I mean, these past couple of years have been tough for a number of different reasons, but you won't see me complaining. And here's the problem. And somebody can relate to me. When you don't complain, people don't think you have anything going wrong, or they don't think that life affects you the way that it affects them. When you don't complain, when you don't go around going, oh my God, this happened. Oh my God, why did this happen? And you don't go around finger pointing and blaming and all these other things, people will start to think, well, nothing's going wrong or whatever. And so I'm not a complainer, because the energy that's invested in complaining is opposing the energy I'm trying to uh, pull into myself from a divine source, God. And when I dive into a place of complaining and whining, and I'm lowering my energy, I'm lowering my capacity to truly connect with God. And I'm missing a major point, and that there is growth in the challenges. Something my great grandfather, my adopted father, taught me. Age 17, I never will forget this. Came home from practice at school, and he said, "Sit down, I want to talk to you." And this happened often. He was always sitting me down and giving me all this wisdom and knowledge. And I just thank God that I didn't reject it. I thank God that I looked forward to those conversations. I can't tell you why. As a teenager, I was willing to sit down with this old dude and really listen to him. Most kids, man, you gotta sit down. And first thing out to my, oh my God, here you go with this. I was never like that, and I thank God that I wasn't. But he set me down and he told me this, and you probably heard me say this before, but this is literally what carries me and pushes me. He said, "Son, let me tell you something. I hope that you've been listening to me. I hope that the things that I've been giving you uh, have really rested in you, and that you are taking it, and that at some point in life you do something with it. But what I'm going to share with you today is probably going to be the thing that's going to have the greatest impact." And he said that you're in one of three places in this life. You're either going into a storm, in a storm, or coming out of a storm. It's called the cycle of life. He said, what most people spend the vast majority of their time in life doing is trying to avoid the storm, and then complaining and whining when the storm finds them. He says, you don't circumvent. Well, he didn't say circumvent. He said, you don't get around the storm. He says, you don't get around the storm. He says, you're going to find yourself in the storm. You're either going in or coming out. It's the cycle of life. He says, but let me tell you something. Your number one responsibility as a man is, when you find yourself in the storm, make sure that you allow the storm to shape you so that you come out a better man than the man that went in. A lot of times we're going through things and we spend so much time being upset because we're going through it. We don't see the force and the power in what it's doing in our lives. See, the one thing that God revealed to me probably 20 years ago, I'm sitting out and there's this thing going on. And God revealed this to me, that you can't build character in comfort. You can't build character in comfort. You can't strengthen the integrity of your character in comfort. Adversity is the fertile soil in which the seeds of faith are planted and cultivated. When things are easy, and you don't need faith to do the things you know you can do and that are laying out there, and all you got to do is take a move. There's faith comes when it gets to the point where you can't see it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It's when you get to those moments where you feel like you're about to break that you have to trust the design. And I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times I've had to trust the design. There are times when I didn't have the answer. There are times when I felt like I was almost about to break. There were times when I thought I was going to lose my mind. And all I could do was look in the mirror and say, you're built for this. I don't know what's going on, and I can't tell you exactly what's happening right now, but you're built for it. God's never going to take you someplace that is meant to destroy you. So if God allows it to happen, there's something in it for you. And don't be, and it's not that I've got this thirst for pain or discomfort. I want breaks in life too, and I get them. And the thing is, more importantly than the breaks in life, I get the rewards of being faithful in difficult times. I get the reward of persevering in difficult times. People talk about the things that I've been able to do, the 26 books, the companies, the this, the that, and all this, the degrees and all that stuff. What you don't realize is none of it came easy. But I got it because I refused to quit. When life was kicking my butt the worst, I was the most stubborn. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to lay down. I'm not going to turn around. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to give up. No surrender, no retreat. You can't go anywhere that I've spoken before and see people that have been there when I spoke. And when I'm approaching the pedestal, or the podium, or approaching the mic, that you won't hear them start to say, no surrender, no retreat, no retreat. That's in my message. I won't quit. It's not about how smart you are. It's not about who you know. It's not about your resources. All those things are good. It's not about how great your plan is. All those things are good and necessary. But let me tell you, it's about the distance you're willing to go. It's about how hard you're willing to push. It's about looking at things that need to change and being willing to change them no matter how comfortable. And I've had to go through that the last few years as I restructured my company. My company took a big hit a few years back, and it was a wake-up call that if I wanted to withstand certain things, that there was going to have to be a change. One of the things I had to do is I can't uh, have so much of my income coming from one-on-ones because that caps out with time. There's only so many hours in a day, so many days in a week, so many weeks in a month, and you get it. So I had to learn how to change. It was uncomfortable because that's what I love doing, number one. Number two, it's what I had gotten real good at. Number three, it was time to change so that I can grow. And growth is not always comfortable. In fact, it rarely is. Growth takes you to a place that you're unfamiliar. Growth takes you to a place where you're no longer the top dog. Growth takes you to a place where you start to be the one in the room that has the most to learn. You've got to be willing to step out of your comfort zone to experience growth. You've got to be willing to step outside of that place where you're dominating to move into a space where you've now got to learn and develop and grow. But you can't stay stagnant if you're planning on being what you were designed to be. So people, what happens when it seems that everything is going wrong? Anchor yourself. Trust the design. And if you're having trouble trusting the design, trust the designer. Know that you were built for the moment that you're dealing with. Know that no matter how bad it gets, no matter how bad it hurts, I'm telling you, I've been through some things. Those who know me know what I've been through. You know, I've had some health issues, had some issues family-wise. I've had some things that I've struggled with. I lost a brother 6 months ago, 7 months, which triggers a whole nother bunch of memories because of this thing with my father. And all of these things, I've got to wake up every day and show up. This is my dream, my vision, my company. I don't get to say I don't feel like it. So every day I wake up and I say, thank you. You know why? Because it's one more day, one more chance, one more opportunity to do better, to get it right, to grow, to have an impact, to touch somebody's life. There are some times I'm gonna tell you. And another thing I want to put on your heart, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling like nothing's going right, find a way to bless somebody else. I'm telling you, and some of the things that I've going through in just the last few weeks, instead of getting caught up in me and what's wrong in my life, I purposely went and found people that I knew that was doing a whole lot worse than I am. And I blessed them in different ways. And I'm not going to talk about it. I don't do photo ops. I don't go sit down and take names and pictures and all that stuff like that. Nobody will know but them and whoever they tell what actually happened. But I found them. And there was this one guy that literally approached me, and I was in myself. I was in that space. And I'm no different than anybody. I have my moments. I'm in that space, and I immediately pushed him off without even thinking, just instinctively. I'm sorry, I don't got it. And then I went in, and I mean, I wasn't 5 steps from beyond him before it hit me. Don't let your moment rob you of an opportunity to be a blessing to someone. You're here to impact lives. And you're not always going to be in a space, a place, and a time where everything is flowing the way you want it to. But your responsibility to your gift does not leave. It does not change. You don't get an exemption because you're going through a moment. You don't get to pull back from your destiny because you don't feel like it. So I went in and I did what I did, and I came out. Now, keep in mind, I've got my own things going on, but I got in my truck and rode around that parking lot till I found him. Called him, held his hand, prayed for him, and then I blessed him with what I gave him. And my whole thing is, well, what if he does it? What if, look, I didn't give him enough for him to go out and destroy his life, but I gave him enough to let him know he wasn't an afterthought. He wasn't, here's something, get out of my face. Number one, I went and found him. Number two, I took time to let him know that I saw him and I felt him. And I'm going to tell you, the elevation that you get from that is unbelievable, but you've got to get outside of yourself. Everybody has those moments. Trust me. Sometimes it seems like it's lingering. Sometimes it seems like, man, when is my breakthrough coming? Sometimes you can be so caught up in your problems that you don't recognize the breakthrough. It doesn't always come in one big explosive moment. Sometimes it comes progressively. You look and you're not where you were 6 months ago. You look and you're not where you were 3 weeks ago. You look, but you can't see it because you're so lost. You're so lost in what you went through or what you're going through or what somebody did to you or why something ain't going. Let me tell you something. People can say what they want to say about me, but I show up. I've blessed people beyond what they were able to do. I consistently do that, sometimes to my detriment. I'm always accessible to my detriment. But what I will not have to ever worry about is that I didn't show up, that I didn't live up to my calling, that I didn't live up to my purpose, that I shunned my destiny for the sake of comfort. The Odyssey Project, I started that to serve the Black community. I funded that 90+%. And a large percentage of that, what's left, was done by one person, Dr. Blanchard. And there's a couple of other people, and I'm not going to name them because I don't want to leave anybody out. But one person specifically, I will name, Earlene Beeman. We stay into it. But I tell you what, for a whole year, she gave $50 a month. There are some other people that have reached out recently. I'm not going to put them on blast because number one, I don't want to make it. To me, it's not the amount. The amount is a blessing, and I acknowledge it. There's one person who has been a blessing, but $1 to me is a vote of confidence. When a person says $1, to me, it might as well be 100 because it said, I believe in what you're doing, because I could take this dollar and I could do something else with it because I understand life is lifing right now. I get it. But what I'm going to tell you is, with me having to do that, now, when I started this, where I was at the time, funding my passion in the community wasn't a big deal. But I've got kids. I've got all these other stuff. I got a company that I had to rebuild from scratch. So it became tough, but I never sit up and said I'm not. I never sit up and say I'm not going to show up. When people call me and say, hey, this is happening to my daughter, this is happening to my son, I don't ever sit up and say, well, I'm sorry, we can't do it. We don't get any funding. I figure it out and I make it happen. And it's a lot of people saying, you need to stop, Doc. But what if the time I stopped, the person that I could have touched was the one whatever, the person that's going to be the next whatever, the person that's going to be the person that maybe touches somebody in my life that I care about down the line. Who am I to sit up and say all of a sudden you're not good enough? You're not worthy enough. Sometimes it puts me in bad places, but I tell you what, you won't be able to say I didn't show up. I will be able to show up and look God in the face and say, I did everything. I came, I saw, I conquered. I lived my life on full and I died on E. What do I have to be thankful for? I've lived a life beyond measure. I've seen places and been places that most people only dream of. I've been able to do things and have things that people fantasize about. But most importantly, I've touched lives. I've had people come to me and tell me they were this close to committing suicide. And it always seems to end like this, but I came across your video, or I attended an event that you spoke at, or I saw a conference on trauma. I had someone say they lost their husband and They were about to give up because they had been together for 26 years and she didn't know anything but him. And she was about to give up, but she came across my video. And she found a reason to keep going. And 6 years later, she's met another man that loves her and cares for her, but she almost gave up. You don't know how many times I hear, and then I came across your video, or somebody gave me your book, or somebody told me to come check you out and I heard you speak. And then there are those that have come across me in passing, in Starbucks and in the grocery store and in the mall, and struck up a conversation. And I spent an hour with them when I was on the move, but it spoke volumes to them about what their value and their worth were. My time is valuable. When someone has needed me, I've been there. So when it seems that everything is going wrong, understand that God designed you to withstand what you're going through. You're built for it. You are built for the battle that you're facing. It's not going to be easy all the time. And I've gotten to the point where I tell people I've learned how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. It's not that I always want to be in a bind, because I've worked hard to build what I've built. But what I've learned is I get kind of nervous when things seem to be going too smooth and everything. It's like the first thing I check is, are you really truly invested in the moment? And most of the time, no, I've eased back. So I amp it up, because it's a training. When you go in the gym, the only comfort you get, if you're really putting in the work, is when you walk in the door and when you're walking out. When you're putting in the work, it's not comfortable. It doesn't feel good. You learn how to get used to it, and you start learning how to enjoy the burn, learning how to embrace that heart rate and that heavy breathing. But it's not comfortable because you're challenging your body to become better than it's been before, so that it can do more than it's done before. And it's the same thing with life. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. Stop whining, stop crying, stop. I'm telling you, people will sit up, and like when I do, people say, man, stop sitting on it, man. Stop being proud. It's not that I'm prideful. It's that I've just learned that when people look at you as being someone who is strong, one thing I tell people all the time is there are a couple of problems I have. Number one, I have a problem with the strong Black woman thing. Not that I don't believe that our Black women are strong. I think that Black women are remarkably strong. The problem is, every time you hear the term strong Black woman, it's because a Black woman is doing something she should not be doing on her own. And the problem with being considered strong is, strong people don't get help. People will look at you and say they're strong. They got it. I'm telling you out of experience. Male or female, when they look at you and they say, you think you're strong, you can literally be considered strong and go to somebody and say, man, I'm having a rough one. It's rough. It's hard right now. I don't know what I'm going to do. And you know what you get? Man, you got this, man. I'm going to keep you up. I'm going to keep you lifted. But I tell you what, the one place that I know that I can go is the Creator, the one who gave me the gift, the one who gave me the purpose. And I'm reminded of this, and then I'm going to back off and let you guys go. I'm reminded of this. There's a point when Jeremiah is young and God says that before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you and I ordained you. And I gave you this purpose. And Jeremiah was saying, he was young. He said, don't say you're young, because you had this calling on your life before you were born. You had purpose before anyone even knew you existed. You had purpose. And Jeremiah went on. And then there's a point in roughly around chapter 20 when Jeremiah's tired now, because see, he's been thrown in a pit. He's been ridiculed. He's been talked about. He's been mishandled. They trying to kill him and all these other things. And he says that I have become a garrison daily. I'm tired. I'm ridiculed. He says, I made up in my mind that I would no longer speak your name or speak your word, but it's like a fire. burning and shut up in my bones. I tried to retain it, but I couldn't. I know what Jeremiah feels like. Sometimes you feel unappreciated. Sometimes you feel rejected. Sometimes you feel like, why am I doing this? But see, you go to 29 and God told Jeremiah says, I know my plans for you, plans to give you a future, give you a hope, plans to prosper you. But you got to be faithful. You got to push through. You got to be all that I designed you to be. You got to be beyond what you think is comfortable. I'm telling you that there's nothing to be had in comfort but lost time and opportunities. So when it feels like everything is going wrong, hold your head up. Find a way to smile. There's a power in smiling. Your smile not only blesses others, it strengthens you and it encourages you. Your brain neurologically interprets a smile as something to be optimistic about, and it starts to search for the good things in your life. And I don't care how bad it gets, there are some good things in your life. Thankful Thursday. See, thankfulness is not just about when everything is going your way. Because see, when I start to look at things, when things seem to be in upheaval and everything seems to be dark and all of this, the first thing when it gets dark, I'm reminded of what Solomon said. He said, God dwells in the darkness. Even the gross darkness does God dwell. So there's no place that I can be in my life that God is not with me. That's the first thing. Then I start to sit up and think, what am I missing? Focusing on the negative. Then I'm reminded that while things aren't ideal in a certain moment, somebody didn't wake up this morning. Somebody's burying a loved one. There are parents having to bury their children. There are people grappling with the loss of loved ones. There are people with missing children that they're searching for. I get those on my desk daily. And I share it and I put it into our system and we look and we pass it out and we put fillers out. We've had a few kids recovered in the last few weeks. The blessing doesn't always look the way you think it should. You got to learn how to recognize the blessing. A life will start to look dark all the time. But when I wake up every morning, that alone is a blessing. Don't you give up. Don't you quit. Don't turn around. You are built for whatever you're facing. It's not going to be easy all the time. It's not meant to be. This life isn't about ease. It's about reward. It's about touching the dream. So again, I really want to thank you for allowing me to have time to come visit with you guys. I do this out of my heart, out of love, out of passion, hoping that I touch, inspire, encourage, and lift someone. But I also do it because it's what's given to me to do, and that there's blessings in me living in my purpose. And the same applies to you. Don't let the moment you're in rob you of the victory of living in your purpose. Whatever you're going through, God built you for it. The designer took everything into consideration when he designed you. He knew that this moment would be here. His omniscience misses nothing. What you're going through may be shaking you, but it doesn't shake him. He's moved by your circumstances because he's moved by his love for you, but he's never shaken by them. Trust the designer. Trust the designer. As I said, I'm excited because I've got 3 slots open for anyone who is really serious about working with me. Also, there is today I'm doing a special where if you sign up for the bronze package, you can get a free upgrade to the gold. Matter of fact, if you sign for the gold, I'll give you a free upgrade to the platinum. And if you don't understand it, go check it out and read it, and you'll see what a blessing that is. So you can either upgrade from the bronze. If you buy the bronze, you get the gold. If you buy the gold, you get the platinum. That's today. Also, you can take advantage of Afterpay. Afterpay allows you to break that up into 4 different payments if you need to. But whatever you do, get engaged in your purpose. Walk in your purpose. Understand that this isn't about ease. Understand that you're going to have to face some difficult moments. Understand that sometimes the tides are going to roll in a little high, but you're built for it. You are more than capable of withstanding it. And when you withstand it, it will make you stronger. Find people to pour into, find people to bless, find people to love on, because in doing so, you lift yourself. We are here for more than just existing. We're here for more than just fulfilling our own selfish desires. We are here to leave an imprint, to be a representation of the designer. So I challenge you to hold your head up. Understand that if you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. Let me say that again. If you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. If you're still in the fight, you can still win. I don't care how many times you've been knocked down. If you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. I encourage you to keep your head up. Press through. Hold on. Believe. Live. Love. And finish. It's who goes the distance that wins. On that note, I wish you the best. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day. And go out and touch somebody. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything major. Just go out of your way to speak life into somebody else's life, to bless them in a way that you're moved to bless them. That's my challenge to you today. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day. As I always say, I live my life on full. When I leave this place, I will die on E. That's my challenge to each and every one of you. Don't leave your potential untapped. On that note, take it easy.